Hello everyone, and today we're actually going to be inside of a dungeon. I know, it's rare that I actually do something that requires effort anymore. So what are we doing? Well, I'm going to try and show you how in World of Warcraft Classic, a lot of people think warriors just cannot hold aggro on big packs of things. Now it's true, you're not probably going to be able to hold aggro on every single fucking thing like a paladin could. But a majority of the time you can hold aggro on, well, a majority of the enemies. You're going to see exactly how you can do that. Now, this is aided, I'm not going to lie, in this by, you know, most of the party, actually all the party besides me being sub 60. But the same principles do apply here. And let me tell you, these guys had some big DPS. Bigger DPS than I thought they would for the level they were. You'll see that in the Angerforge fight. So, what are some good things to have? Well, one, it's nice to have a big two-hander. If you don't have an Obsidian Edge blade, I feel that pain, because I just recently got mine. And god damn do I love it. So, but right now we're going to be going into Arena. If you don't have an Obsidian Edge blade, you can make do with dual wielding. It's just not going to be as effective with the strat I'm going to show you. You can use an Unstoppable Force, you can use a Dreadforge Retaliator at the very worst if you have to. Really, any two-hand that's worth a crap, no, Dreadforge Retaliator is not worth a crap, but if you have any two-hander that's not terrible, this will work. So, theory goes as such. This works great if you have engineering. You're going to be seeing me use engineering, because engineering is a godsend to tanks, and it will basically make you a paladin, in effect, if you use Goblin Sapper charges. It's expensive, but, I mean, smooth runs can be expensive. So it's not without its faults, the strategy. So you'd want to start by charging in, going with your Berserker stance with your two-hand out, and then whirlwinding. Going into defensive stance, putting on your shield, and then you start tab sundering and revenging. I mean, these guys, you can see, they're going ham with the AoE, and not many things are getting off of me. I mean, that's not... it's not like this is staged or anything. You're seeing them go, well, full haul, yeah. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm trying to say full ham and going hog wild at the same time. But yeah, you see they're going pretty much ham here as far as AoE goes, and they're not really pulling a whole hell of a lot of aggro. Now that's also the fact that I'm kind of geared a little bit. I didn't want to go in there because I didn't want to get caught with the gate, because I think you can get caught in there. Now for single target, you can two-hand tank if you're geared enough. If you're not geared enough, put on the shield. But I prefer dual wield tanking, generally speaking, for things that don't hit that hard. As you might have guessed, I was trying to get the Savage Gladiator chain. We've ran it like 5 or 6 times. I didn't see it. You know, the search continues. Sure, a lot of warriors go out there going, I know that feeling. Yeah, I'm sure you do. But, apparently this time I was two-hand tanking just to see how that would go. Normally I dual wield tank this guy because he doesn't hit that hard, physically speaking. And the extra threat from either having a big two-hand or dual wielding, apparently I switch mid-fight, is, I mean, you can do pretty much almost top DPS if you go dual wield right out of the gate and still hold aggro. Got a lot of people upgrades this run. It was really, or not this run, but this, or tonight I guess I should say. Got the mage, his Banthok sash, got the healer, his pants. I'm getting off topic now. But yeah, if you don't have engineering as a warrior, I'm not saying you need engineering, but man, does it help. Take it from a warrior who's had non-engineering before, it really helps. And now it is expensive if you decide to buy all your materials off the auction house to make your explosives, but you honestly don't really need to be using Goblin Sapper charges. It really helps with Angerforge, but it's not needed. It could probably be a little stressful for the healer too, because your health just plummets, but so does everything else's. I know this isn't exactly revolutionary new information. Oh, just use engineering and be geared to the teeth. I guess you could call it that. And hell, sometimes you don't even really need to switch all your two-hand if you don't want. Of course, like I said, I make it look easy because I'm probably more geared than any 60 has a right to be in this area, but Hell, we all need the Savage Gladiator chain, man. Us warriors. And I'm sure there's a lot of warriors hell of a lot more geared than me, so this applies to all of you as well. If you're not as geared, well, get grinding for your Lionheart helmet. Get grinding for your... Well, I guess you can't really grind for your Wrath helmet, can you? God damn, do I love Suicide Kings. Felt a little bad, though. One of the tanks didn't speak up that they needed it. Which I would have had no problem with, you know, them prioing it to him. But he got it the next week, so don't you look at me like that. He got his Wrath helmet. That's right. Anyway, yeah, I'm wearing all plate for this. If you want to know my gear, I think I'm wearing a Wrath helmet, the Onyxia tooth pendant. I'm wearing the Deathbone chest, because that's the only plate chest piece I have that's worth a crap. The Sadist bracers from Timma. And what are my hands? Oh, right, Death Grips. Death Grips are fantastic in BRD, because a lot of things disarm you. I couldn't think of the word. A lot of things disarm you. Death Grips keep you from being disarmed. Do the math. It's really freaking good. Now, it has no stamina, but again, if you have the gear, you don't really need stamina on that slot anyway. And the utility means you don't lose your weapon, and you can actually hold aggro worth a damn, so it's worth it. As far as boots, I think boots were the only non-plate thing I was wearing, which was my Bloodmail boots, just because of the plus hit. And I went through a hell of a lot to get those things, and I'm not taking them off except for PvP. But, yeah. And my belt's a Belt of Might that I got from, well, Molten Core. Surprised I got that, too. I outrode a lot of people for that back when we ran free roll. But, that's the gear you're looking at. If you have better than me, it's going to be a lot easier for you. If you're not quite as good geared, then you might have to adjust your playstyle accordingly, or your party accordingly, and use more sheeps, saps, whatever you need, banish. Just make sure you don't break the things and while you're doing this. And, yeah. Also, I just kind of wanted to show a day in the life of a tank grinding for Savage Gladiator chain. I mean, we didn't get it, because it's like a double roll. You have to friggin' get the guy to spawn, which is like a 10% chance, then he has to drop it, which is like a 4% chance off of him, so yeah, good luck, have fun. I did half of it. I had fun. I didn't have good luck, though. Which is a damn shame, because I was the only one in the party that could use the Savage Gladiator chain. I was like, oh my gosh, if it drops tonight, it's mine, man. I didn't get it. So these fellas thought I was a pretty good tank. I think they were maybe a little easily impressed, but maybe that's just me being too self-deprecating. Also, you really need, and I mean you need, to have a weapon switch macro. If you're 60 and you're tanking, you need to have something that switches either between a two-hand and your one-hand shield, or your one-hand shield to your dual wield. Why? Because the Fire Boys, most of them except Icendius is the only one to my knowledge that uses physical, because I looked, I was like, wait a minute, he uses physical? Whoopsie doodles. But yeah, these guys, they all use fire. There's no physical. So if it's just them, go back to dual wield, man. Go back to two-hand. Whatever you got that's better, use that, because it makes no sense to be using a shield against those things, because they have no physical damage to block. Alright? Alright. So we're getting into the harder part of holding aggro on everything, which is the anger fight, which if you know this fight, there's a lot of adds, which is pretty much a warrior's worst nightmare as far as keeping threat. Now you have two options, if you're an engineer or if you're not an engineer. If you're an engineer, you can use a Goblin Sapper charge, you have all the adds glued to you, and they're probably all at half health. If you're not an engineer, good lord, I hope you saved your challenging shout, because you're going to want to use it here. Well, not here, but at the second phase of the boss fight. Also, pro tip, you only have to kill this one group before you pull Angerforge. You don't have to pull anything else, you can just pull these two here, well, not these two, they're random, but, you know, the two dwarves in front of the ramp, and you're good. You don't have to kill anything else. Just make sure nobody follows you, and you're good. Make sure everybody's mana's at an okay spot before you pull. Don't be that tank. Trust me. Watch your healers, man, if nothing else. You'd rather your mages and your warlocks be at full mana too, because they're the ones going to be doing a lot of the damage. Just generic tank tips, I know. But I'm telling you, it makes a world of difference, and people appreciate that shit. When you're not constantly making them go and, you know, being a bother to everybody. So basically all I do for this, or did for this, was I whirlwinded, and then I just switched to the one-hand shield, and then just focused on Angerforge. Everything died before they moved targets, so... Now at around 40%, which is right around now, I think, things are starting to spawn, and they're going to come running. There they are. Since I'm an engineer... well, I guess I'll just show you the non-engineer way, because that's what I did this time. I used Challenging Shout, and then I used the Goblin Sapper Charge. I guess I went with a hybrid move there. That was overkill. You don't have to do both. But I wanted to make damn sure they weren't going to go all run to the healer, alright? And, good luck, have fun.